Yo, how's it going, everybody? It's me, Arctic. Today we're going to be making a tier list using weapons for Kujou Sara. This is basically going to talk about each of these weapons and which ones are going to be kind of good on a scale of insane to horrible. Like as in horrible as in I would never use this weapon, and insane as in I'm actually pretty happy with using that weapon if I actually have one of these. Anyway, this is just my opinions basically. If you guys disagree with me, that's fine. But I think this is going to be based on how Kujou Sara's playstyle is going to be mostly, at least for me, and also some other people might play her a little bit differently. But this is going to be for more so like the swap on field DPS, you know, like activate your abilities, drop a crow feather with like maybe a charged attack or something, and then also cast the burst. But if you wouldn't mind subscribing, I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. We're making some pretty good progress. But anyway, let's get back to the video. So first up, we're going to be looking at the Alley Hunter. Now this is one that you were able to get off of the weapon banner a while back, and its passive is honestly pretty decent. It basically gives you like damage bonus whenever you're off the field. In addition to that, its base stats are pretty good. Like it has a high base attack, and also it comes with an attack substat, which is pretty nice. And so, like, generally how I can see this being used on Kujou Sara is basically you stay off the field, hop on the field, use her elemental skill, maybe a charged attack if you're at, like, C0 and can't just proc her crow feather with just an E-spell really fast. Yeah, I think this would be fine, because you do have a 4-second duration window before you start losing the stacks that this gives. So overall, I think this is a pretty good option on Kujou Sara in terms of overall damage and also its actual usability with its passive. The next weapon is Blackcliff Bow, and now what this one does is it has a bunch of crit damage, which is nice on bow characters because you can go for like headshots with charge attacks, and it actually does have a 100% chance to crit, so that's very good right there. And then it also, in addition to this, it's passive. Whenever you're defeating enemies, it gives you like some stacks of attack, which can be nice. This also has another high base attack, and I forgot to also say that like high base attack is nice with Kujou Sara because what she does is she gives a crow feather buff based on her max attack. It's based off of her base attack, so higher base attack weapons are really going to boost out the amount of attack you're actually going to be giving your team. And so I think this is honestly a little bit better option than the Alley Hunter, just because it has a crit damage stat, and crit damage is a very high damage increasing number, you know, and it also still has that base attack. Compound Bow, I don't really see this being used on her at all. It does have an okay passive. It does give you like that extra attack and attack speed buff, but that's only for her auto attacks, and her auto attacks aren't like electro infused or anything, so I don't see this doing very well. Although it does have like physical damage as a stat. I'm gonna put this in not really, just because like it's honestly not really that great of a weapon to use, I would say. And so yeah, I would not use this weapon. The Favonius Warbow, this option's not actually that bad. It does have a low base attack, which sucks, honestly. Even though it is like a support weapon, it does have a low base attack. And yeah, that's gonna be yikes. However, you would be able to keep your like burst ultimate up quite a bit with this, and also be able to create some energy orbs by like swapping into the actual game. Basically, you'll be able to swap in, get some like orbs created, and yeah. And so I'm gonna say that this is an okay option. I don't really see it like shining too brightly on Kujou Sara at all. The Rust, this one's honestly pretty meh. It's like not gonna be that great on her, to be honest. Like you basically just buff your auto attacks and then debuff your charged attack damage by like 10%. Overall, it's not really that great. I'm gonna put this on a worse than that. Actually, I'll put it in not really, because it's not really gonna be that great on her at all. Like she doesn't really focus on her auto attacks anyway. Bow, this one's actually a pretty good option because it does have a high base attack, comes with some energy recharge, plus you also have the chance to reset your elemental skill cooldown. And so what you can end up doing with that is like being able to cast like multiple E-spells and charge up your burst a little bit faster. This one's honestly a pretty good option, and I might actually, in terms of damage, it wouldn't outclass these, so I'm gonna put it behind those because we are looking for like damage and also support capabilities. So this one like comes in just behind these in terms of actual like damage that you're gonna be able to get with it, but also its high base attack is gonna be nice for supporting as well. So I highly recommend that option. The Windbloom Ode, this one comes with Energy Elemental Mastery as a substat, and it buffs your attack percent. It gives you attack percent on your like ability on basically your whole kit. Like, it's alright, but basically it's only good on a certain few characters, and even then I think it's not as good as like a stringless at like R2 at least. Even at R5 this thing does not class as stringless, so I'm gonna say this is a not a really good option at all. Like, it's better I guess than the compound bow, but it's not really that great of an option in general. The Viridescent Hunt, this is the one that you get off of the Battle Pass, and this one is actually pretty alright in terms of an option to choose. You do get some ad grouping with its passive, and it'll actually be kind of nice because you can group enemies with like your, I think, elemental skill or charged and auto attacks a bit. I think that's what it does. But it also has crit rate as a substat, which is nice. You're gonna be able to crit a bit more. And since Kujou Sara isn't like a cryo that you can't really run like a four-piece cryo set, so crit rate is gonna be pretty nice. But yeah, once again, if you are going for like headshots with your charge attacks, they're always gonna crit, so it's a little bit less good, I think. But overall, I think this is still a pretty good option. I'm going to put this below that just because I think that the support capabilities of this one are way better. It has a way higher base attack. So, yeah. Stringless is actually a pretty decent option if you are going for like more of a sub DPS kind of build. What this does is it gives you like a bunch of damage bonus on your like elemental skill and elemental burst, which can be pretty nice. It has elemental mastery as its substat. However, like the elemental mastery as its substat isn't all that bad, because if you are running her with like other characters that are going to cause like reactions or something, it can work pretty decently. And so I think this one is a little bit, I'm gonna put it right here in good tier. It's gonna be pretty good for like sub DPS and whatnot. Precedent, this one is one that you can craft in the crafting station, and this one is pretty easily acquirable. It boosts your attack percent whenever you hit enemies' weak points. But like, since Kujou Sara has a pretty low base attack, like it's not as valuable, and this weapon only has a 510 base attack. So honestly, I'm gonna put this in kind of the it's okay tier. Like technically, if you get a R5 one of these, it can be pretty good. Like you actually get like more bonus than like Amos bow and like Ganyu, for example. Like it's got its weapon place, and it's got its characters that's good on. But Kujou Sara, not as much. Predator bow, this is the one that's the PS4 exclusive, and yeah, its passive can only work on PS4, so it's literally worse than Rust. And I think it actually only buffs like cryo damage or something, or with like cryo attacks, so I think it's literally only used for basically Aloy. I'm pretty sure. So I think it's just worse than a Rust, to be honest. And actually worse than this one as well. Minnernat Schwaltz, this one might not actually be that bad if you are going for like a more main DPS Kujou Sara. It comes with a phys damage substat, which is a little bit sad. It would have been really crazy if this was like an attack percent substat. I would have liked to have seen that. But basically it comes with physical damage as a substat, and then what its passive does is it's kind of similar to the Solar Pearl, where when your elemental skill hits stuff, it's going to boost like your auto attack damage and vice versa. And so overall, it might not be that bad of an option if you are going main DPS Kujou Sara. I actually think this will probably be a pretty good option in general. You can basically do like some of her auto attacks, something like that, and then you're also boosting like your skill and other damage. Yeah, so in general, I think this is kind of similar to the stringless in terms of what you're actually getting from it. The Hamayami bow, this is the bow that's basically from the Inazuma crafting station. And so this bow basically is going to boost like your charge attack damage some. It's also boosting your auto attack damage. And so overall, it's not that bad. I think it's going to be pretty on par with like a Minnernat Waltz. If you are going for like auto attacks, Minnernat Waltz is a bit better. However, this also boosts your charge attacks. So I think it's going to end up being a little bit better than Minnernat Waltz. The Skyward Harp. The Skyward Harp is actually a pretty good option. I think this is probably one of her better options, to be honest, because it does give you some crit rate, which is nice for like her abilities and her elemental burst in terms of it actually critting. But then it also has a extremely high base attack at 674, so it's going to have the highest base attack and get you the most for the supporting capabilities in terms of the actual attack that you're going to be getting. And this also, its passive is actually pretty decent as well. Basically, whenever you're doing like auto or charge attacks, I think you're going to be able to get like a damage proc extra, which is nice. It also comes with crit damage as it's part of its passive as well. So I'm gonna put this one in insane category just because it's very good for like support build and also DPS build in general. I forget what it's called, but it's basically kind of like I forget what it's called, but like what this does is it basically is going to buff like your teammates whenever you get these multiple stacks of stuff. So overall, I think on supporting, this weapon will be pretty good. It has energy recharge substat, and its base attack is pretty high. I want to put this insane category. I think it's probably like lower insane just because it's more of a support weapon. But yeah, I think it'll be pretty good in general. This one's honestly not that bad. It's gonna boost like your charge attack damage, so if you are going for charge attacks, at like C0, this weapon isn't that bad at all. And so I think this weapon won't be that bad. I think it's probably a little bit worse than actual crit damage on here, just because you don't necessarily have to go for like charge attacks on that. And so I'm actually gonna put this a little bit below that. I'm actually gonna put it below those three, because I think these three are very solid options, and I think Amos Bow is a little bit less of a solid option. You can get more charge attack damage, but it really kind of falls off for the rest of your kit. It does have a higher base attack, which is alright. However, the reason I'm putting it here is because I think these three are the best 4-star weapons, and Amos Bow doesn't necessarily push beyond them more than you could get with like refinements of these potentially. And then last but not least, this is the Thunder. So this is the Thunder weapon. This is going to be the one that's on like Yoimiya's banner. And overall, it's not that bad of a weapon. It comes with crit damage as a substat. It has a pretty high base attack. I think it goes up to like 674. So its base attack is very high as well. It's passive. It gives you some attack percent and then boosts like your auto attack damage. So I think this is a little bit worse than Skyward Harp. I think Skyward Harp is a little bit better because it gives you crit rate substat, which crit rate is going to be nice on her as well. But this crit damage right here could be pretty fine if you do like a crit damage hat. It does give attack percent, which is alright. However, it's not as good on Kujou Sara because she does have a little bit lower base attack. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm planning on doing one of these for Aloy in the future as well, if you guys want to watch that one. But anyway, it's been me, Arctic. I will see you guys next time. Farewell.